Cyber Threat Brief for March 20th, 2026. SharePoint CVE 2026-20963 under active exploitation with federal patch deadline Saturday. Gentleman Ransomware Group exploiting FortiGate CVE 2024-55591 across 14,700 compromised devices. FBI seizes Handala hacktivist domains after Striker attack wiped 80,000 devices via Intune. Here's the full breakdown of today's top security stories. Cyber Threat Brief, March 20, 2026. Next section, Critical Alerts. SharePoint CVE 2026-20963 under active exploitation CISA. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency added CVE 2026-20963 to the KEV Known Exploited Vulnerabilities Catalog on Wednesday with a 3-day federal remediation deadline of March 21. This critical deserialization flaw in SharePoint Enterprise Server 2016, SharePoint Server 2019, and SharePoint Server Subscription Edition allows unauthenticated remote code execution. Microsoft patched this in January 2026 Patch Tuesday, but exploitation began immediately after. CISA has not confirmed ransomware involvement, but warns this is a frequent attack vector. EPS, the exploit prediction scoring system, score is 0, 99, 93rd percentile. SharePoint Server 2007, 2010, and 2013 are end of support and no longer receive patches. This is the second major SharePoint exploitation wave in recent months. Last summer's tool shell vulnerability, CVE 2025-53770, was exploited as a zero-day by Chinese state actors and ransomware groups, compromising over 400 organizations, including the U.S. Energy Department. Salt Typhoon and other Beijing-linked groups joined those attacks through fall 2025. Action: apply January 2026 patches immediately. Upgrade end-of-support SharePoint versions to support editions. Federal agencies must patch by Saturday. Review logs for unauthorized deserialization activity and new administrative accounts. Sources: CISA the Register Bleeping Computer. Cisco Firewall Management Deserialization, flaw CVE 2026-20131. CISA added CVE 2026-20131, affecting Cisco Secure Firewall Management Center, FMC, and Cisco Security Cloud Control, SCC, Firewall Management, to the KEV catalog based on evidence of active exploitation. This deserialization of untrusted data vulnerability is under exploitation, but details on threat actors and attack campaigns remain unknown. EPS score is 0, 6, 68th percentile. Action: apply Cisco patches immediately. Review FMC and SCC management systems for indicators of compromise. Federal agencies have binding remediation deadlines under BOD 2021. Source: CISA. Next section, Ransomware and Extortion. Gentleman RA-S exploiting FortiGate at scale. The Gentleman Ransomware as a Service operation has compromised 14,740 gate devices globally and maintains 969 validated brute-forced VPN credentials, according to Group IB analysis. The group emerged from a payment dispute on Ramp Forum when operator Hastelamwert accused Killin Ransomware of withholding $48,000 in affiliate commission. The group consists of about 20 members and has attacked 94 organizations since emerging in July/August 2025. Initial access relies on CVE 2024-55591, a critical authentication bypass in FortiOS/Forti proxy. This vulnerability is on the CISA KEV catalog with a due date of January 21, 2025 and an EPS score of 0, 942, 100th percentile. The gentleman also uses Bring Your Own Vulnerable Driver (BIOVD) techniques to terminate security processes at the kernel level, evading endpoint detection before deploying ransomware. Action: patch FortiOS/Forti proxy immediately. Audit FortiGate VPN credentials for brute force attempts. Monitor for kernel-level security process termination. Review EDR logs for BIOVD artifacts and vulnerable driver abuse. Source: The Hacker News. Medusa ransomware exfiltrated 1 terabytes from University of Mississippi Medical Center, the University of Mississippi Medical Center. Breach disclosed in February involved exfiltration of over 1 terabytes and more than 1 million files, according to Medusa ransomware spokesperson. The attack disrupted Epic EMR access and resulted in a 9-day service suspension, closing most outpatient clinics statewide and canceling elective surgeries and imaging appointments. Medusa instructed affiliates not to encrypt the entire infrastructure, focusing instead on data exfiltration over operational disruption. Negotiations failed over deletion payment demands. Medusa demanded $800,000, while offered $550,000. Exfiltrated data allegedly includes protected health information of patients, employee and student personally identifiable information, and financial information. As of March 19, has not disclosed the total number of affected individuals. Action: healthcare organizations should review data exfiltration controls and network segmentation. Monitor for signs of Medusa affiliate activity prioritizing data theft over encryption. Do not negotiate for data deletion without expert guidance. Threat actors rarely honor deletion promises. Source: data breaches, net. Next section: business and infrastructure threats. FBI seizes Handala domains after Striker attack. The FBI seized handalaredwanted.to and handalahack.to domains following Handala's destructive cyber attack on medical technology giant Striker. The seizure warrant was issued by the District Court for the District of Maryland. Handala, also known as Handala Hack Team, Hadaf, Hamsa, is an Iranian-linked, pro-Palestinian hacktivist group first appearing in December 2023, reportedly linked to Iran's Ministry of Intelligence and Security, MOAS. The Striker attack compromised a Windows domain administrator account and created a new global administrator account to issue Microsoft Intune wipe commands to approximately 80,000 devices, including computers, mobile devices, and personal devices managed by the company. Handala acknowledged the seizures and stated they are building new digital infrastructure, with new websites forthcoming. The Justice Department simultaneously seized 4 domains used by MOAS for cyber-enabled psychological operations, justicehomeland.org, and 3 additional domains. See show notes for the full list. Action: harden Microsoft Intune environments following CISA and Microsoft guidance. Implement least privilege for admin roles. Enforce M.F.A. multi-factor authentication on privileged access and require multi-admin approval for sensitive actions like device wipes. Review domain admin account activity and global administrator account creation logs for unauthorized additions. Sources: bleeping computer data breaches, net. BMC Footprints pre-auth remote code execution, chain 4 vulnerabilities in BMC Footprints ITSM platform, CVE 2025-71257, can be chained into pre-authentication remote code execution. The attack begins with an authentication bypass, extracting a guest session token from the password reset endpoint. This token enables exploitation of an unsanitized Java deserialization sink in the /ASP.NET config, endpoints, view state parameter. Exploitation via Aspect J Weaver gadget chain enables arbitrary file write to the Tomcat webroot, achieving full RCE, and 5 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. The SEC token also unlocks 2 SSRF flaws, CVE 2025-71258 and CVE 2025-71259 for potential internal data leakage. All issues were addressed in September 2025. Action: update BMC Footprints to September 2025 or later releases. Review logs for unauthorized password reset endpoint access, suspicious view state parameters, and unusual file writes to Tomcat webroot. Monitor for SSRF attempts from authenticated guest sessions. Source: The Hacker News. Tax season phishing campaigns target accountants. Microsoft Threat Intelligence identified multiple tax-themed phishing campaigns targeting individuals and accountants with credential theft and malware. Campaigns abuse phishing-as-a-service platforms like Energy 365 and SneakyLog, using lures around W-2 forms, tax refunds, filing reminders, and CPA impersonation. Many campaigns deliver legitimate remote monitoring and management, RMM, remote monitoring and management, tools for persistence and alternative command and control. One campaign in early February 2026 delivered the Energy 365 FA-S kit using highly specific CPA lures. Emails with subject, see tax file, contained Excel attachments named after real accountants, linking to OneNote files on OneDrive that hosted credential harvesting pages. Another campaign used QR codes and W-2 lures to deliver the SneakyLog phishing kit. Tax-themed campaigns target accountants and professionals handling sensitive documents, financial data, and tax-related emails during peak season. Campaigns employ multi-step attack chains with Excel, OneNote, and OneDrive to complicate automated detection. Action: deploy email security controls to detect tax-themed lures, attachments with clickable buttons, and OneDrive-hosted malicious files. Train users to verify sender authenticity on tax documents and CPA communications. Block or restrict execution of RMM tools not explicitly approved. Enable MFA on all email and financial accounts. Tax day is April 15. Expect campaign volume to increase. Source: Microsoft Security Blog. 54 EDR Killers abuse 35 vulnerable drivers. Asset analysis of EDR killer tools found that 54 of them leverage bring your own vulnerable driver. BIOVD techniques by abusing 35 vulnerable drivers. EDR killers are a common component in ransomware intrusions, allowing affiliates to neutralize security software before deploying file encrypting malware. BIOVD attacks gain kernel mode, ring zero privileges by loading legitimate but vulnerable signed drivers, then terminate EDR processes, disable security tools, tamper with kernel callbacks, and undermine endpoint protections. BIOVD-based EDR killers are developed by closed ransomware groups like Deadlock and Warlock, attackers forking proof-of-concept code, Smiling Killer, TF Sysmon Killer, and cybercriminals marketing tools as a service, Demo Killer, Abyssworker, Card Space Killer. Ransomware groups produce EDR killers as specialized external components to keep encryptors simple, stable, and easy to rebuild. Additional EDR killer categories include script-based tools using administrative commands, Taskle, netstop, scdelete, or safe mode reboots, anti-rootkit utilities with user interfaces, Gmer, HRSword, PC Hunter, and emerging driverless EDR killers, EDR Silencer, EDR Freeze, that block outbound EDR traffic. Action: block vulnerable drivers using Microsoft's recommended driver block rules. Monitor for kernel-level process termination targeting security software. Detect safe mode boots followed by service modifications. Review EDR network traffic for blocking or freezing patterns. Apply tamper protection to security tools to resist kernel-level termination. Source: The Hacker News. Langflow vulnerability exploited hours after disclosure. A critical Langflow vulnerability was exploited hours after public disclosure. Langflow is a visual tool for building AI workflows. The vulnerability allows unauthenticated remote code execution because attacker-supplied flow data is used in public flows. Details on exploitation campaigns and threat actors are limited. Action: update Langflow immediately. Review public flows for unauthorized modifications or malicious flow data. Monitor for unauthenticated RCE attempts. Restrict access to Langflow instances until patched. Source: Security Week. Next section, Windows/Active Directory Security. March Windows 11 update breaks Microsoft account sign-ins, KB 5,079,473. The March 2026 Windows 11 cumulative update breaks Microsoft account sign-ins across Teams, OneDrive, Microsoft Edge, Excel, Word, and Microsoft 365 Copilot. Affected devices display errors stating, "You'll need the internet for this." It doesn't look like you're connected to the internet, even when connected. The issue occurs only with Microsoft accounts used for Microsoft Teams Free. Businesses using Entra ID, Azure Active Directory, for app authentication are not affected. Microsoft's workaround is to restart the affected PC while connected to the internet, which may repair the device connectivity state. If the device is restarted without an active internet connection, the connectivity issue may return. Action: apply Microsoft's restart workaround for affected users. Monitor for Microsoft advisory updates on a permanent fix. Businesses using Entra ID authentication are unaffected. Do not deploy KB 5,079,473 to new systems until Microsoft resolves the issue. Source: Bleeping Computer. CISA urges Intune hardening after Stryker breach. CISA warned U.S. organizations to harden Microsoft Intune environments following the Handala cyberattack on Stryker. Recommendations apply to Intune and other endpoint management software. Use least privilege for admin roles via Intune's role-based access control, RBAC. Enforce MFA and privileged access hygiene via Microsoft Entra ID conditional access and risk signals, and require multi-admin approval for sensitive actions like device wipes, application updates, and RBAC modifications. Combining these practices shifts from relying on trusted administrators toward protected administration by design. Least privilege to contain impact, Entra-based controls to ensure users are trusted and authenticated, and multi-admin approval to govern critical changes. Action: audit Intune administrative roles and reduce permissions to minimum required. Enable MFA on all Intune admin accounts with conditional access policies. Implement multi-admin approval workflows for device wipe commands, app updates, and role changes. Review admin account creation logs for unauthorized global administrator accounts. Sources: CISA the Register. Microsoft Bing Images RCE, CVE 2026-32191, CVE 2026-32191, is a remote code execution vulnerability in Microsoft Bing Images caused by improper neutralization of special elements used in OS command injection. An unauthorized attacker can execute code over a network. No CVSS, the common vulnerability scoring system, score, EPS score, or exploitation details are currently available. Action: apply Microsoft patches when released. Monitor for updated advisory information on exploitation status and mitigations. Source: MSRC Security Update Guide. Next section, Patch Priority, FortiOS /40 Proxy, Critical Authentication Bypass CVE 2024-55591 exploited by Gentleman Ransomware across 14,700 devices. Patch immediately. SharePoint Server, Critical Deserialization RCE CVE 2026-20963 under active exploitation. Federal deadline March 21. Patch immediately. Cisco Firewall Management, CVE 2026-20131, deserialization flaw in FMC and SCC under active exploitation. Patch immediately. EMC Footprints, Pre-Auth RCE Chain, CVE 2025-71257, update to September 2025 or later, and 3 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Schneider Electric Eco Structure Automation Expert, Code Injection CVE 2026-2273, update to v25.0. 1. Next section, Vulnerability Disclosures. Schneider Electric Eco Structure Automation Expert, CVE 2026-2273, CWE 94 Code Injection Vulnerability in Schneider Electric Eco Structure TM Automation Expert versions prior to v25.0. 1. Allows execution of untrusted commands on the engineering workstation when an authenticated user opens a malicious project file. This could result in limited compromise of the workstation and potential loss of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The product is plant automation software for digital control systems in discrete, hybrid, and continuous industrial processes. EPS score is 0, 7th percentile. Version v25.0. 1 includes a fix and is available for download. Schneider Electric recommends storing solution and archive files within the user's home directory or locations protected by Windows File System access controls in multi-user environments. Users must verify file authenticity before opening any solution or archive file. Action: update Eco Structure Automation Expert to v25.0. 1. Apply Windows File System access controls to solution and archive files outside home directories. Verify authenticity of all project files before opening. Source: CISA ICS, Industrial Control Systems Advisory. Linux kernel CVEs and MSRC feed. Multiple Linux kernel CVEs published in the MSRC Security Update Guide with EPS scores in the 0 to 0. 6 range 1st to 68th percentile. CVE 2026-23227, DRM/Exynos, BTRFS, Bus, FSLMC, DMingen, SCSI, Core, Bonding, DRM/AMD/PM. MD, Wi-Fi, Mac 80211, PCI, Endpoint, SCSI, QLA2XXX, SPI, Tegra 210 Quad, EO Uring/EOWQ, RXRPC, NetDevSim, Net, BTRFS, MPTCP, ALSA, a loop, ALSA, USB audio, AppArmor, and 20 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. These appear to be Linux kernel fixes published through Microsoft's advisory feed. No additional context or Windows-specific impact is provided. Action: Linux administrators should review kernel patch releases and apply updates per vendor guidance. These CVEs are not Windows/AD specific. Sources: MSRC Security Update Guide. Next section, Trends and Context. Exploitation timelines are collapsing. SharePoint CVE 2026-20963 was patched in January and under active exploitation by mid-March. Langflow's critical vulnerability was exploited within hours of public disclosure. Defenders must assume 0-day windows for patching critical internet-facing services, especially those with deserialization and RCE primitives. The Gentleman Ransomware operation demonstrates that payment disputes within cybercrime ecosystems spawn new, well-resourced threat groups with existing infrastructure and target lists. BIOVD remains the dominant EDR evasion technique across ransomware affiliates, with 54 distinct tools abusing 35 vulnerable drivers. Asterisk generated by Carolina ClearTech. That concludes today's Cyber Threat Brief. From Carolina ClearTech. Stay patched, stay vigilant.